Do you actually need to train for bikepacking? Half of you said that you don't, and to be honest, for many years, I didn't really either. I'd often rely on having a general good base level of fitness and then ride into good fitness as the tour progressed, which is still potentially a valid option, which we will touch on later in the video. But recently, the last couple of trips have really knackered me out. The first couple of days I found them incredibly hard, and I've been increasingly thinking, does training for bikepacking trips actually make them more enjoyable? Just for context, if you don't know me, my name's Tom and I go bikepacking all over the world and I make films for YouTube, and recently it's become pretty much my full-time job. So you're probably thinking, well, you've got loads of time, so you should be out on your bike all the time and you're probably really fit. That is absolutely not the case. I have 2 small children at home and I am so busy running this side of the business and other things that I'm doing that I hardly have any time whatsoever to train. Maybe an hour maximum a day, and that's if I feel up to doing it in the first place. For me, bikepacking is all about going slow and enjoying the world, enjoying the fantastic scenery that I cycle through, experiencing different countries and cultures, and that's what my films are about too. I don't really do ultra endurance events, I don't do bikepacking races, I just like to be alone, present and enjoy the fantastic scenery. But although that is the case, there are still times where I have really long days in the saddle or incredibly tough climbs or challenging terrains, and it can be really taxing. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can train for bikepacking if you want to do it, especially if you have a limited time window like most of us do. But I'm also going to talk about how you can get into bikepacking and do a bikepacking trip without having to train much, but how you can limit some of the negatives that come with that. Endurance cycling and long distance bikepacking is all about time in the saddle. So if you're like me and you haven't got a lot of time to dedicate to training, it can be really hard to actually prepare for it. For context, and I don't mind sharing this, back at my lightest when I used to race a lot and when I was incredibly good fitness, I was about 70 kilos. Now for context, I'm 6 foot tall, so that was very skinny. I had a really good power to weight ratio and a good endurance as well, so I could basically go incredibly fast quite easily. But now I'm more around the 95 kilo mark, so a huge amount of weight compared to what I used to weigh, and my power has slowly been going down. But it hasn't gone down a huge amount, but now my power to weight ratio is pretty rubbish. So for me right now, it's all about building up that fitness again. I really want to get back into some good shape that I was before. I know how to do it, I've done it many times before. It's just finding a way to make it work around my new life and the energy levels I've got. We'll start with the basics. It's all about consistency. It's far better if you only had 7 hours in a week to do 7 1-hour rides than it is to do 1 7-hour ride once a week. Those 6 days that you'd have off really do start to diminish the returns that you're getting, and it's just about building that muscle memory and the strength in your legs. The endurance side of things can come later. So how do you do this and put it into practice? The first thing you need to do is stop guessing when it comes to your training. Actually get some concrete figures in front of you so you can track your performance. And the absolute best way of doing this is by getting a power meter. The main benefit is that you can see exactly how fit you are, how strong you are, and for how long. And that's where we're going to start benchmarking our improvements. Now, do you want to take a power meter when you're out bikepacking? Absolutely not. It's just another thing you don't need, another thing you've got to think about, maintain, charge, whatever. But for training, a power meter is absolutely invaluable. It's so useful having a power meter if you're very limited on time, because you can maximize the time that you have. All you need to do is focus on doing intervals depending on where your areas of weakness are. So for me, it's that high explosive power that I don't seem to have anymore compared to when I was racing. I've been finding going up really steep climbs has been incredibly challenging for me recently, especially when the bike has been fully loaded. So what I want to do to maximize my fitness is get out there and start doing some sprinting intervals to build that high power in my legs, and the endurance, as I mentioned, can come later. This video isn't about me giving you tailored cycling training advice. I'm not a coach, I don't have that qualification, and I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that for you. Everybody's different. I just wanted to give you some tips, and by far and away the best tip I can give you is to go out and get a power meter, start to develop some sort of training structure. You can do that using AI now, you don't even have to go out and buy anything. Just work out what sort of numbers you need to focus on and maximize the time you have to do that. Nowadays there's loads of power meters to choose from, varying in price, but they have come down a lot, as I said. This is my new one. This is a Geoid PM500 power meter. And it reminds me a little bit of the original SRM power meters we used to see about 15 to 20 years ago. It's very different to that sort of power meter though. It's much more modern. Wireless, Bluetooth, ANT+, as you'd expect. And it's also got wireless charging. It has a little charging port there and it magnetically clips onto the charger, so you don't have to take it off or replace batteries, which is great. Also has about 300 hours of battery life, which is absolutely loads, more than you'd need for most bikepacking trips. And when you're not using it, it goes to sleep, so it saves battery there. It comes with its own set of crank arms, so all you need to do is take your existing crankset off, put the chainring on this, it's a 110 BCD, so perfect for Shimano stuff, and stick it back on, simple as that. And because it's attached to the chainring rather than the crank, it means that it's dual-sided. It records power from the entire stroke, not just one side and then doubling it like we used to see on some of the older models. So with that in mind, it's very accurate. It's about plus or minus 1.5% of accuracy, which is really good. The Stages one I used to use was over 2%, so it's even better than that and much cheaper. How much cheaper do you say? It's about £200, which is a quarter of what I paid back in the day and still much cheaper than most power meters on the market. So very affordable, works brilliantly, could be a really good option if you're on a budget. So as well as the power meter, you might want to consider a heart rate monitor. They are very cheap and they do work kind of, but there's definitely less information to take from that and they're very much delayed. You don't get an instant result like you do with a power meter, but it might be something you want to consider. What else do you need? You're going to need a head unit. Chances are you've probably already got one, a bike computer, especially if you go bikepacking, something to help you navigate. For years I've been using the Garmin 1040 Solar, which I absolutely love. Fantastic for bikepacking, but for training, it probably is a little bit overkill. That Garmin is about £500, which is a lot, but personally I think it's been worth it. If you want something cheaper though, I've actually been testing this. This is a Geoid bike computer to pair with the power meter. It's called the Cc700 Pro and I've been using it for a couple of months now, and its main benefit is that it's only £90. And on the whole, it does the same sort of thing. It displays all of your metrics, including your power if you're training, your heart rate, average speed, distance, cadence, everything like that. But it also has reasonably good navigation as well. I've just uploaded a route to it now, which I'm going to follow. It doesn't have detailed maps like the Garmin does, but if you're just wanting to do a little route around your local area or try something new, it's perfectly fine for that. It's got about 15 hours of battery life, which for training is absolutely fine. It's not going to compare to the Garmin's monstrous days and days worth of battery, but for training, again, absolutely ideal. I've said that endurance can wait. Just focus on the strength training and build up that consistency, and that is definitely true, and I found that very helpful for myself. But when should you start focusing on the endurance? If you're really busy, you have no option but leaving it till fairly last minute. And by that I mean maybe 2 weeks before the trip. You need to start sacrificing at places and start to build up that endurance that way. By doing that, you might be able to get 3 to 6 rides in before you actually go on your bikepacking trip and get those longer ones under your belt. You'll start to work out any niggles that you've got and see where you might be struggling, but that's quite a lot of riding before your trip. You'll probably find that you'll make some significant inroads to your endurance just by doing that. And remember, this is a bikepacking trip you're going on, not a race. You don't have to be in perfect tip-top condition. You can still build endurance during the trip itself. But if you've made some inroads and maybe got halfway to where you want to be beforehand, that will make those first few days much, much easier. A question I've seen loads of times, which is usually from beginners, but it is relevant to everybody. Should I go out and train with my bike loaded like I'm actually doing my bikepacking trip, or should I just leave it unloaded? Truth be told, about 90% of your riding can be done with your bike unloaded. You do need to test how it feels with the equipment on, but for the most part, you can just head straight on your bike and do your training, especially if you've got a limited time window like me. You don't want to be faffing about with your gear. Just get on the bike and put in the work and your body will thank you for it later. However, it is very important that you still test your setup as it will be on the day. Make sure that you're comfortable with it, make sure you've got the balance right, and also see how it affects the bike. It will affect your handling, your steering, your braking performance, and the sort of gearing that you use. You might find that you're using too big a gear, so you do need to test it. A really easy way to do this is if you commute to work, or if you have the option of doing that, do that a few times before you go on your trip. Take a lot of stuff, take all your work stuff as usual, but if you can pack a bit of extra weight in there, it will pay dividends in the long run. So bottom line, do you need to train for bikepacking trips? Not really, but you should. The reason being is it's going to be way more enjoyable if you've got a good level of fitness before you get there. You don't need to be in tip-top shape, as I've said. But if you're one of those people that puts the bikes away for months and then suddenly gets them out in the summertime and expects to enjoy the ride firstly, you absolutely won't, especially if you're going somewhere really challenging like Morocco or something. it's just not going to be enjoyable. But if you're prepared to handle that, you definitely can just pick up your bike and go on a bikepacking trip and build the fitness as it progresses. So if you're anything like me, make the most of the little time that you've got. Go out and make your training count, get yourself a power meter and really focus on building up those numbers. Follow a structured training session if you can. And nearer the time, that's when you can focus a bit more on the endurance. Don't worry about it too much. Just get out on your bike and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.